Yes, I can feel into whatever I'm changing, and I know what's in it. Let me try. Midas looked at Darkspeed for a yes. It's not my city, Darkspeed said with hands raised in his defense. This is my project, and I have authority over it, Saber's father said. I will let you try it in one of the smaller and less populated portions of the city. Can you do this from a helicopter or from a car? Now, I can do it from either, Midas said, happy to get the chance. Do you want me to get rid of the dorm first? Certainly. I'll call the pilot back, he said using his mobile phone. Midas looked back at the dorm, and it fell into the sand like it never was. The Alphas and Saber's father climbed into the helicopter as the pilot approached. Over the less populated portion of the city, Midas reached down with his power and made a solid steel tube several feet under the street. The tube was 22 feet in diameter for regular streets and larger for streets with more than 2 lanes. Next, the tube was made hollow with a flat bottom for workers to walk along. Midas then segmented the walls into steel pieces that formed the semicircular arch. Can I put manhole covers in for access from the street? Midas asked. Yes, that would be good, Saber's father said. Midas did so and reinforced the area around the hole with the circular steel ring. Then he made the portions of the street turn into round steel manhole covers. The last thing he did for this section of town was turn the steel pieces into hard granite pieces that would stand the test of time. All done, Midas said, pointing down to the few city blocks that were in his charge. They quickly landed nearby and made their way to the streets he had just worked on. Traffic was going by as it had while Midas was working. A few flashlights in hand, the group walked to a more remote section that was worked on. Olympian looked around slyly and stuck a finger into the manhole cover lid and slid it to the side. Whoops, ladders, Midas said as he started to use his power to add ladders at all the manholes. Saber's father was the first into the underground tube. This is amazing, and it's a uniform depth under each street? Yep, centered directly under the street. And you can make another one like this, deeper that would slope in whatever direction you choose? Yeah, just as easy, Midas said. How long would it take you? This took about 10 minutes, and it's about 1% of the city, but I would get faster at it. Midas rolled some numbers around in his head. 1 big day, maybe 2 smaller days, so I wouldn't make mistakes. Absolutely amazing. I want to have some of my engineers look at this. Zayed, please call a car for your brother and his friends. The group started making their way back out of the tunnel. Midas, I am very happy to have met you. I hope to see you again. You have a wonderful city. I hope to be back, Midas said, as gracious as possible. Soon, the boys were on their way back to the mall where the girls were. Darkspeed had called Inferno to let them know they were coming. Olympian looked bored and wanted to get moving. Midas, your powers are so great. Don't be a superhero. Come build stuff for us, Olympian said in a high-pitched, sarcastic voice. Hey, meteor punchers have gotten enough credit. It's time for the red shirt to take some of the glory, Midas said, trying to be cool. Buddy, you're not a red shirt anymore. Don't you remember kicking Newton's butt this morning? Hey, I'm right here, Newton said. Olympian looked at him with a smart face. I know you are. With the stench in here, I don't think I could forget. Newton turned in his seat to look squarely at the boy who just insulted him. Darkspeed hated to have to be the parent in the car, but knew Olympian would listen to no one else. Olympian, that's enough, Darkspeed said with force. Can you go a whole day without picking a fight, just once? You're not even mad at anyone. Act like an alpha and not a tard. What's a tard? Saber asked. A retard. Someone mentally retarded or mentally handicapped, like Olympian, Midas said with a grin. Very funny, shrimp, Olympian said with no grin. Seriously, knock it off, Darkspeed said. I'm a hitter. It's in my nature to fight, Olympian said. Look around. You're not a hitter today. You're a visitor and a guest. So use those manners your mother taught you and act like she would want you to act, Darkspeed said. Yeah, or we'll tell her how you behaved when we see her, Midas added. If you dare badmouth me to my mother, Olympian left the words hanging. You'll do nothing, Saber said. You can't do anything to a teammate without your coach knowing. You can do nothing. Olympian, think of this as an exercise in hostage negotiation, and we're holding you hostage, Darkspeed said in a reasonable tone. Olympian didn't want to talk about it anymore. You know it's almost midnight back at Alpha? Yeah, we need to pick up the girls and get moving to London. I want to see the HU headquarters, Darkspeed said. Why are the HU headquarters in London anyway? Greco asked. Can I tell him? Olympian asked. Sure, you know? Saber asked. I know my superheroes and my superhero history, Olympian said, and then continued. The first part of the Coalition's war was fought in America. The last half was fought more in Europe. With the Soviet Union, Eastern spies, Western spies, so many borders, and just general mistrust, London was the first place that several superheroes from around Europe met to work together. As they started to overcome mistrust and work together, London became the center for the European HU. The Tokyo Initiative may have been in Japan, but the first place many teams met was in London. What about the Americans and their New York team? Newton asked. They were considered the best team of the U.S., maybe the world, but teams in the U.S. only had to learn to get along with other U.S. teams. They never had to learn to get along with the foreign teams meeting in London. After the Tokyo Initiative was done, the obvious choice for a center for global operations was London. There's the girls, Midas said, looking out the window. Darkspeed opened the door to the limo and looked out at the girls. Where's all the stuff you bought shopping? I teleported it back to Alpha. I wasn't going to carry it around the globe with me, Virtuoso said. The boys noticed that all the girls seemed to be getting along better as they entered the car. They were even smiling. Zayed looked at all of them in the limo with him and said, So, it's just about time for you to go to your next destination. Yes, thank you for being such a good host, Darkspeed said for everyone. It was my pleasure. I hope to see you all again. Zayed then turned and spoke something in Arabic to his brother Saber and hugged his one shoulder. The limo drove across the parking lots to a more discreet location in a covered parking area. We can teleport from here without drawing too much attention, Saber said as they exited the limo. What did Zayed say to Saber? Midas asked Virtuoso softly. He said he regretted not being the one to go to Alpha, Virtuoso thought to Midas. Everyone hold hands. I know the way to London, Virtuoso said as she waited for everyone to touch. In an instant, they were thousands of miles away.